Hello, this is Swarm. And I say, Merry Christmas, because we say Merry Christmas now. And you are listening to Amazing Spider Talk.
With great power, with also come great responsibilities. You can grow more by trying to kill yourself with your abilities. We're not talking about economics, we're just talking about classic comics today.
Well, you heard it, people. Swarm has given us a lovely introduction. I guess happy holidays to you all. Mark and I thought we would enjoy recording this bonus episode of the show to wish you guys all a happy holidays and safe travels and all that stuff, and something for you to enjoy while you're gallivanting around the world. So, hi, this is Dapper Dan Gavazden.
And I'm Mischievous Mark Giannacchio. I mean, Dan, is it truly a happy holiday episode, though? I mean, isn't Hanukkah basically over? We know what this holiday is. Come on.
All right,
I'm kind of with the Nazi on this one.
All right. Well, you and your PC SJW friends will keep doing your Merry Christmas. I'm sticking with Hanukkah. I'm sticking with Kwanzaa. It's a happy holiday.
Very fair. Very fair. Well, Dan, because we were feeling so festive and joyous after wrapping up our first season of all new Amazing Spider Talk, we thought we would discuss one of our favorite holiday issues of Amazing Spider-Man of all time. I don't know if it's our favorite because of the quality, but it certainly was an issue that, in its own weird roundabout way, kind of made this show happen.
Yeah, it's weirdly true. I think it's like really the basis of the formation of our friendship is me nagging you about these issues.
Yeah, so the issues in question, of course, are Amazing Spider-Man issues number 165 and 166 by Len Wein and Ross Andrew. Right, it's Ross Andrew on the art here, right?
Ross Andrew, yeah.
Yeah, because Ross Andrew would always capture like very famous New York City scenes and stuff like that, and there's ample of that here because this is well, it's not the debut of Stegron the Dinosaur Man. He actually showed up in an issue of Marvel Team Up a few months before this one, but this is, for all intents and purposes, this is like the first big Amazing Spider-Man issue of Stegron the Dinosaur Man. That's going to be a theme. Who attacks New York on Christmas and the Museum of Natural History. He reanimates dinosaurs. I mean, Dan, what could you and I possibly have to bond over this issue about?
Basically, that whenever you did a reader's poll of what you should write about as requested by your readers, I would just harangue you to write about these issues as if they were the best issues of Amazing Spider-Man ever written. Which, I've never really asked you from your point of view, not even knowing me. What did you think? Was I trolling you, or did you think this guy is mental? Because there's definitely those people when you read our blogs, there are those people that write in that have this weird affinity for an issue that you can't quite put your finger on why they care so much about this. Or did you always know I was joking?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. I mean, the story I always come back to, or the anecdote I come back to, was, and it kind of came at a weird time for me in the blogging world. It was actually right around Christmas time, and I was doing, it wasn't so much a poll, I was doing a countdown of my personal favorite single issues of Amazing Spider-Man. So I was just taking one issue. It didn't matter if it was part of a longer story or not. I actually was doing this list to mark Amazing Spider-Man number 700 because that was being promoted as the end of Amazing Spider-Man, which was true for about a year and a half. And I had kind of taken a hiatus from blogging, and my son had been born a year earlier in 2011, and 2012 was kind of hot and cold for me in terms of creating consistent content for me. So but Amazing Spider-Man number 700 and all the fury and furor around it kind of reignited my passion to do the blog again. So I was doing this list, and I was trying so desperately to build up a following on social media. So I remember being on Twitter being like, oh, so I'm at number 5. Can anyone guess what the next one's going to be? And you just kept coming in at Amazing Spider-Man number 166, Stegron the Dinosaur Man. And I was just like, what is up with this guy? I definitely didn't think you were being serious. I knew you were trolling me, but I'm like, why are you trolling me, man? like this isn't helping either.
And lo, a friendship was born.
Pretty much. Because I think it was a few weeks later, you're like, we should do a podcast. I was like, I don't think so, Stegron guy.
Yeah, maybe not the best platform to create outrage between two people is insist that he write about Stegron. I don't really know what sparked this in me. I guess these two issues have always been a kind of like butt of mine. Like it's just they're two really strange issues in regards to the kind of villain that Spider-Man could fight, and I always found them ridiculous, especially Stegron the Dinosaur Man and his plot to reanimate dinosaur skeletons and then send them back in, I guess, de-evolve them back into living dinosaurs was so ridiculous to me, and much of Len Wein's run on the book I found ridiculous, that this one has just always been a sticking point to me, where Spider-Man was doing pretty well for a while up through like one, Jerry Conway's run and all this stuff, and then you suddenly get bizarre issues like this, and I felt like it was the first time that the book really got off track and became emblematic of a lot of the book through these, late 100 to 200 issues, where it was just strange villains that he was fighting. And I'm sure we'll talk about this when we get to actually talking about this on normal episodes of our show. But to me, this issue just became emblematic of a period of time of Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, and when you go back and like read interviews with these guys, and especially when you talk about when they talk about the villains, I mean, they keep coming back to, well, I didn't want to use Doc Ock and Sandman and Green Goblin anymore, and I wanted to do something different, and I get that. I mean, we deal with that to this day in the world of comics. I mean, it's like, we kind of go on a run where we're doing, it's the classic guys, and then it's like, we're going to get away from the classic guys, and then, we're putting them all back in the box, and now they're out of the box, but so this was clearly one of the back in the box periods, but the villains were kind of exceptionally bizarre during this run. And, I mean, Len Wein created a number of famous characters in his heyday, and there were even some some individual issues of his that during this run that I thought were quite good. But I felt some of these other longer form things, you were just kind of like, what the heck? Like, not only is this just bizarre, but it's just inherently not a Spider-Man story, and like in rereading more so 166. And then 165, like the script is just so ridiculous, and I mean, not to speak ill of the recently deceased, but it's also just so bad, like the fact that Stegron is always he's not Stegron, he's Stegron the Dinosaur Man. That is the name of the character. That's his Marvel database name, right? It's not Stegron, it's Stegron the Dinosaur Man. And I'm
cracking up over here just every time you say it. It's just so blatantly hilarious.
Yeah. And then all throughout, I don't think I truly noticed this before, probably because I never actually truly seriously read this issue. There are at least 11 occasions in this issue where they were like, that dinosaur man. It's always Dinosaur Man. He's not that villain, or he's not that dinosaur or that guy. It's like, oh, that dreaded Stegron, the Dinosaur Man. like, like, why? What is up with that?
You know what's also perplexing about this, and perhaps people who've never read this issue don't even understand why we're talking about this on like as a Christmas issue, is that it's the Christmas issue featuring Stegron the Dinosaur Man. Like there was something inherently holiday about a dinosaur man, but they go out of their way to really like emphasize how Christmassy this story is meant to be. I mean, not only is it snowing, which I guess plays into the story in an interesting way we'll talk about later, but you know, this story starts off and ends with Spider-Man issuing a holiday message, and they really hit upon this. My favorite part of it being that this is also a lizard story.
Yes.
Where Stegron kidnaps Billy Connors and triggers the transformation of the lizard. But when Spider-Man like comes on the scene of the crime, like Martha Connors is all in tears and broken up, not because her son has been kidnapped by Stegron the Dinosaur Man, but because he left her apartment in tatters. And you get this image of this Christmas tree just knocked over, and she's like not that bothered by it. She's like half smiling, but like concerned, you know, it's Christmas and my son is gone and look at the tree.
Yeah.
You know,
and Spider-Man's like, I'll get your son back, but first we got to pick this tree up. Like priority number one.
Can you describe this person that came into your apartment? He kind of looked like a Stegosaurus, but also a man. Okay,
He's a
great.
dinosaur
Thank
man,
you.
Dan. He's a dinosaur man. That is the only descriptor you need.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for telling me about that. Now let's pick up this apartment.
Yeah. And like it's like one of those trees like on the wooden planks, and I gotta be honest, I was as someone who has seen those trees on the streets of New York for years now. The thing that amazed me most was after like Spider-Man picked up the tree, like the floor wasn't like covered with needles, which is I feel like either a really missed opportunity by Ross Andrew or that was just the best, freshest freaking tree in the world, right?
I mean, Ross Andrew is known for his intense detail, although he like forgot to include lizard's teeth in this issue.
Yeah.
Although I guess it's early lizard, so he doesn't necessarily have teeth all the time. But it's so weird. He's this big gum filled monster. There's no sinisterism to it. It's just oh my goodness, these issues.
Yes. There's something else. So of course, you know, the skeletons that are reanimated are from the Museum of Natural History, the famous dinosaur exhibit. I actually always refer to the Museum of Natural History dinosaur exhibit as my happy place, Dan. That's just a little personal anecdote.
Because of your fondness for Stegron the Dinosaur Man?
Well, yeah, I guess so, but no. I mean, you know, it was my first class trip as a kindergartner when I was in school. You know, I went to school in a suburb of New York. We went to the Museum of Natural History, and I was like the biggest dinosaur nerd as a 5-year-old. So, like, ever since, it's just become like my little childhood happy place. It's like, you know, like when Happy Gilmore thinks of like, was it like people on unicycles? I think of the Museum of Natural History.
I'll tell you, if I'm ever like lucky enough to be a writer on Amazing Spider-Man, my first story is going to be about the squid. Do you remember the character the squid?
Yeah.
I'm going to have him reanimate the squid and the whale, and they're just going to tear their way through New York City, the giant squid and whale exhibit.
Anyway.
No, that's a great exhibit. It's a great exhibit.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So you know, but yeah, this comic brings it all home, and what else can you truly say about it?
Well, okay, so first off, let's be clear about this. The first step of Stegron's plan, Stegron the Dinosaur Man, is that he gets this like laser gun thing that he's invented that reanimates the skeletons of the dinosaurs. This is a reanimated non-Nazi skeleton of dinosaurs not covered in bees that are wandering around. Specifically, I guess, a T-Rex, a Stegosaurus, and a Brontosaurus of some sort.
Yes.
And that's issue 1. And you're like, wow, what a threat. I mean, that is terrifying stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I've played Mario Odyssey. You don't want to mess with the T-Rex, man.
Right. And the police are called, and they can't believe what they're seeing. And there's some daring do's around that. But then phase 2 of his plan is where it gets even more devious. His like gun thing has like a second mode that allows him to de-evolve or whatever, or regress these skeletons, which I guess temporarily sends them back in time to where they have all muscles and blood and tissue.
Yeah.
These are full-on dinosaurs attacking the city. Mark, have the stakes ever been this high?
No. And, it's not only is Spider-Man dealing with this, but he's also dealing with the lizard. And, as he likes to always remind us in lizard stories, I can't possibly truly fight him with my full strength. Yet, I do find he dispatches the lizard pretty easily in this issue, which is a little like, oh... All right.
He just shoots him in the mouth with his web, which, like barring any kind of weird innuendo from that you want to gather, it immediately cures the lizard.
Yes, because I packed my serum in my webbing or something, which is like he can do that now.
Apparently so. I mean, good on him.
Yeah, and maybe he has like that Tony Stark webbing from Homecoming or something.
You're reminding me that, like, as much as we're joking about these issues, there are actually really substantial things that happen in Peter's, like, civilian life in these 2 issues.
Yeah, we find out that Harry and Liz Allen have become engaged. That's pretty big, right?
Yeah, there you go. So there's that. And, like, Peter confronts Flash Thompson about dating Mary Jane. Like, he sticks up for himself and is like, back off, and kind of holds Mary Jane accountable, even referencing Gwen Stacy's death and her role in comforting him in that he felt like they were more serious than perhaps she did. Potentially laying the seeds for that great Tom DeFalco, Ron Friend story, where we kind of find out more about Mary Jane. I mean, say what you will about Stegron the Dinosaur Man, these events have a way of pushing things forward nevertheless.
Yeah, like it's just Stegron's world, and we're all just living in it, right? I mean, it's just a dinosaur man's world, and we're all living in it. No, the MJ stuff is really good, and I think it like also kind of plants the seeds for the inevitable breakup when Marv Wolfman came on the book. I mean, Marv Wolfman more or less has not been shy about saying that was like priority number 1 for him. And, and he was on, I don't know, maybe about a dozen issues after this one came out. So clearly, like, under Len Wein, we were kind of getting to the end of the rope because, like, they weren't going to advance beyond dating, and they wanted to they clearly didn't want to show that MJ was ever going to settle down. So you kind of like setting her up to be unlikable again, which they really hadn't done for a while, probably since the days that Gwen had been alive.
So Marv Wolfman's number 1 priority, breaking up Peter and MJ. What would you say is his number 2 priority, Mark?
Bringing back the burglar? Or
there you go.
I don't know.
Kind of an uneventful run.
Yeah, pretty much.
So back to Stegron. What do you think about Stegron's like apparent death in issue 166? It's kind of like, we go from this comic, that's like larger than life, kind of goofy affair, and then suddenly it gets like kind of dark.
And very melodramatic. It's like he realizes he's taking his last breaths as he sinks further into the icy water.
A fitting end to a dinosaur man.
Yeah, I mean, hey, dinosaurs are warm-blooded, as anyone who's studied dinosaurs can tell you. So it should only be fitting. And I do like that he even says, if I had only waited till spring.
The one thing I didn't think about, it's like the bad guys in the movie Signs.
Yes.
If only we didn't go to the planet covered in water.
Yes. It's like, man, who would have thought showing up in the Christmas issue would have really derailed my plans?
Oh no, I was destined for this. My last name was Stegron.
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought like for a Christmas issue, like, Green Goblin looking like an elf or something would be more thematically appropriate, right? I mean, it is kind of odd. In the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, Dan, we didn't get that many like bona fide Christmas issues. We had like this one, and I remember there was one during the McFarlane run where like they're getting kicked out of their apartment. And I'm trying to think of other like clearly definitive Christmas issues during Amazing Spider-Man tenure, and there's not a ton of them, right?
No, but we don't even really get many bona fide winter issues of Spider-Man.
Right.
It's like it's eternal summer in New York, and only punctuated by incredible blizzards.
Yeah, which, and the incredible blizzards are always kind of considered unseasonable in their own way, like clearly there's something wrong, because in New York we would never have snow like this. It's like, but New York's been one of your characters forever. It's based on a real place. What?
I think it's the kind of thing where the writers are writing so ahead of time that they kind of forget about the seasons until they hit. And then it's like December and they're like, I don't want to be writing an issue about snow and have it come out in the summer, So it's just kind of this weird timing thing, I imagine.
Yeah. But, like, hey, Ditko was all about trying to portray reality. And, there was never any seasonal issues during his run.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
But yeah, the ice did him in. The ice did in the Dinosaur Man, Dan.
And then we get this incredible whiplash from someone dying to Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Unless you're a dead dinosaur man.
Right.
But dinosaurs didn't celebrate Christmas. They only predated Jesus by like 2,000 years.
Right.
So there you go.
Well, Dan,
that's a lesson to all you dinosaur men that are non-believers out there.
Pretty much. Dan, I don't know about you, but after talking a little bit about this issue, in addition to me wanting to just reread it again, I kind of want to curl up with some eggnog and some hot chocolate, maybe some bourbon. Now I'm channeling Flash Thompson. I don't know. I'm just in the season now. I'm ready for the holidays.
Christmas doesn't start until you read about a dinosaur man.
Yes. We were talking about not that many amazing issues, but in terms of Christmas issues with Spider-Man, there's the Marvel Team Up #1 with the Human Torch and Sandman, and there's a spectacular Spider-Man issue by Peter David with like a bad Santa. I don't know if you ever.
Yeah.
And there's the one I always love, it's the Entangled Web with what's his name,
Darwin Cook,
which is a lot of kind of has like a holiday variety show sitcom feel to it. The Stegron the Dinosaur Man though top all of those.
It's got to. It's just got to. Like whether you like it or not, it's just insane enough to be the best Spider-Man holiday issue ever. Excellent. At least through lip service.
All right, Dan. Well, do you want to say anything else to our listeners?
I don't know. This is the beginning of Mark and I's friendship through the weirdest way possible. That makes it a great holiday episode, and it warms my heart to think about it. And I really hope everybody out there, this was just a one-off goofy thing, but we hope you're having a great time with your family or whatever you're doing, and happy holidays.
Wait, Dan, before we go, oh my God, it's a Christmas miracle. emerging from the icy lagoon. It's Stegron the Dinosaur Man.
Oh no!
This is Stegron the Dinosaur Man. Mother is upset that I came out here by myself. That's why I reanimated all my friends. But they're dead too. Anyway, happy holidays, and don't steal any of my stem cells.